You can use it. You can use it. You can use it.
You could use it.
You can use it.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the NXT Portland Review. I am Joe Cronin, and I am joined by Jake DeMarco, and we are ready to finally go over this thing when I'm not fucking high on angel dust or high on chocolates. I mean, I was loaded. I looked like I was, I went back and watched the review yesterday and like to see whatever. And man, I looked like I was about to fall over in the chair. Like I was in no man's land. You see that yesterday, Jake? I was a mess.
You were a hot mess. It was hilarious though.
Yeah, I thought that after we did the reaction I might do like a review, but I really
Edibles will get to you. They sneak up on you.
I had no idea what I was doing, dude. It was like
one minute you're fine, then the next minute it just kind of creeps up on you, and you're like, "Oh, I forgot that I'm alive."
It was like I'd just stare at the screen watching the chat go by, and I wasn't in any mood or any position to be like, "Let me tell you about what I feel about this show right now." I mean, I sort of did throughout the night.
So strong at one point. This is over a decade ago, but I actually, how when you're subconsciously breathing all the time, obviously, but then ever like once in a while where you remember, like you make yourself breathe, now you have to focus on it.
Yeah.
I was so paranoid because every time I wasn't focusing on breathing, I was stopping breathing, and I'm like, I'm going to die. If I don't sit here and think, if I don't focus on breathing, I'm going to stop, I'm going to pass out. And just like sitting there like,
then you're like,
don't die.
You're not breathing. You're like thinking about not breathing, so then you're not breathing on purpose.
Yeah,
like
you're choking, you're like, don't die. Just paranoid the whole time. It's fun though. But yeah, you and Troy were hilarious. So
yeah, I had fun. We had obviously had to talk about the elephant in the room of the JCS sign, the Jake DeMarco sign.
Yeah, Corwin and Travis had those awesome.
I didn't even know
signs.
Corwin, Eberly, and Travis knew each other.
I was not aware either, but that was badass to see it was both of them. I was like, whoever made these, this has made my night. And then
Tommy's barber murdered me. I mean,
I died laughing when
first
I
popped
that.
Because I'd never seen a Jake DeMarco sign, so I was like, that's cool because like you never get enough recognition, and somebody made a sign for you, so that was cool. And then I saw I'm Tommy's barber, and I almost died.
That killed me. And then there was a Adam Debe,
Yeah, I bet they got taken away, and that's a big controversy thing. And I don't want to spend any time on this because I don't want to molest ourselves. I don't want to get right into the review, but I do want to say they got taken away. Probably, I'm betting because I think it's because people were obstructed. I really think that, and it was sort of like weird and self-promoty. So they were like, "What is this? Joe Cronin show? Jake DeMarco? I'm Tommy's barber. What does that mean?" That's all stuff that's inside. It's not like I'm a fan of Roman. So I get it. I think they hate me now. By the way. So it's not like it was a couple of years ago when they were giving me tickets and allowing any sign. Now they're like, oh. But you said that it seems like they're getting kind of salty on any signs almost.
Yeah, it seemed like that on Twitter. I'm trying to pull it up now. I sent one person a message, but
I've seen an increase in signs. Do you think that's what it is? Do you think that they've seen that too and they're like, uh-oh, we thought, no, like we don't want that to come back? Yeah. Because maybe they get complaints from people about signs, so they'd just rather the signs go away.
They don't focus on the signs anymore. They don't really encourage people having them, and it used to be when people went ahead and came, they would focus on the signs, and now they just want crowd reaction specifically. And I noticed some people also
so much so that they'll miss a spear by Edge.
Exactly. They want to show how the crowd feels and reacts towards something rather than witnessing the action. And I was like, oh, wow, I see on Twitter there was, not a bunch, but about 6 different people saying, oh, my signs were taken and WWE staff was really rude last night. So besides Travis and Corwin, I was like, damn, that's uncommon that they were rude. Usually they're pretty good about things, but.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Yeah, but there was a few people saying like, oh, they took my signs. One guy, I can't verify it, but
signs.
He went ahead and he had just a thing about Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
That's all it was. There was one that said dance, chopper, dance, and things like that. So I could see why people might, find a little offense there. But hey.
Wait, I guess I don't get that one. I guess I don't.
But it's just people being wise asses. But all in all, it seemed like they were trying to go ahead and snapping them up left and right. So I even noticed like throughout the night, the only one that stood out to me was the "Show Me What You Got," the one from Rick and Morty,
right?
The big head sign there. That seemed to stay up.
Well, that's weird. Yeah, and that's an AEW sponsor.
Yeah, go figure. So that's why I was puzzled by that decision.
They let the AEW sponsor stay up.
Get swifty.
That is a little weird.
I fucking love this show so much.
I molested this show, Jake.
Right off the bat, I'm telling you, I think I loved it a bit more than you did, just judging by your reaction last night.
Oh, yeah.
The biggest complaints with people realistically so far has been the overuse of false finishes and the kick-out fest. That didn't even bother me, and I'm not big into that like new school, constant kick-out finish fest. I was never once taken out of the moment. I was sold on everything that they did in that main event. To me, the interference, the heel turn with Gargano becoming the heel finally in the sense that now Ciampa's the face. That was surprising. I didn't see that coming, or at least not at this point. And on top of it, I didn't find the overuse of finishes to be egregious at all. Usually I would give it a hard time. But for this match, I was so into the story that they were telling, how they were both purely running off adrenaline. And they started off really selling like, oh, I'm going to injure your neck again. They did the table spot with the backwards suplex into the announce table, and I wish they didn't show the second angle where you can tell he hit his back, not his neck. But Ciampa's,
it was I was like, if they just didn't show that angle, I thought he was dead. Yeah,
and he's a master at selling, because he didn't even like react to his back. He immediately grabs his neck, and that's one of the things. Same thing with Edge and a few other wrestlers. When you know that there's a real life issue, they've had reconstructive or repairing surgeries, and they missed a great deal of time or even had to retire, risk of retirement. That's not a story. That's not kayfabe. That's a legitimate thing. So when you have that kind of sympathy built in, it's something that you can't help but garner naturally. If you put somebody's ankle in a chair and stomp on it, they didn't break their ankle, that they're not, so with this, it's a legitimate, true injury. So that just elevates the compassion from the crowd so much more. It makes you inherently worried about the wrestler. And that's something that just, can't be reproduced in the ring. You can only say, oh, they went to a medical facility so many times. When you know it's real, it makes it that much more interesting. So knowing that there's a risk that, oh, he could hurt his neck and things like that, my God, it was so explosive. They put their bodies on the line, and I loved every second of it.
Well, let me tell you, let me get the stuff I didn't like out of the way first, because there isn't much, but it's, let me see here real quick. Let me just get logged into this. So there wasn't much that I didn't like, but there was, I'll just get the bad stuff out of the way. I thought a lot of the finishes, unfortunately, were like bizarre. Like, I didn't really care for some of the finishes. Like, I felt like matches were really good, then finishes were just like, what? Like, okay, that's the finish. So I didn't. And this is like a nitpick, because even the finishes were still good. Like, everything was good. This was probably top 5 best takeover ever. Somewhere in the top 5.
Yeah.
Maybe top 3.
I'd have to go back through and like look at old cards and be like, oh, I love this one. But yeah, this is up there.
Like, we've seen cards where like 3 matches were so awesome, or 2 matches were so awesome, and everything was like all right. But this was like, I don't know, like every match, I feel like I could watch every one of these matches back again. But there are a couple that I prefer over the others. But so my first complaint is just how some of the matches ended kind of ruined it a little bit. Like ruined it from a perfect score for me. Like, I almost gave a match a 9 out of 10. I almost gave a match a 9.5, but instead I gave it an 8 because of the ending. I didn't like the ending. But so the other thing I didn't like was I just didn't like all the kicks. It really drove me nuts. It pissed me off. I know that Troy picked up on it. Now, Troy doesn't watch a ton of wrestling, so it was
he's not a follower of NXT.
He's a super casual. He's like not even a weekly watcher. He's like a once every month or a couple times a month. And a lot of times Troy watches because we're talking about it, and he goes and watches it and then goes, yeah,
that's when he tunes in.
Exactly, yeah. So he's like a super casual fan. And he never watches NXT. So he had no idea who any of these people were. And if you guys watched my reaction with Troy, A couple times Troy popped like, holy shit, like that was great. And so he was like, and he's actually the type of guy that NXT is really, kind of made for. That guy that like impressed me with your crazy athleticism and make me believe it.
Yes.
But like he said, he doesn't care for storylines either, like goofy things and stuff like that. So it's kind of that, like he's kind of the target for that type of stuff. But I just didn't like the kicks. He said the same thing, and I'm like, dude, I've been saying that for a long time. And he was like, oh, and I told him, Shawn Michaels is one of the trainers now at NXT. He goes, oh, that's why all the super kicks. And I'm like, no, they've been doing this before Shawn anyway. It doesn't matter that Shawn's there. And then it was just kick, super kick, super kick, super kick, kick, super kick. And that pissed me off tonight. Like, I was like, please stop doing this. Please stop kicking people. Like, it's the most annoying thing. So that was one of my nitpicks. And the other one was the endings to the matches, to a lot of the matches. But that being said, man, I loved this show like so much. Like I really did. Like let's start. Well, I'll let you go first, but we should start at the beginning and let's go through
we'll go through the whole card and that'll make it more organized. But I mean, I'm looking through and everyone has pretty much a different match for their favorites. Some say, the opener, some like the tag match, some like the main event. So I mean, that shows when not everyone's agreeing. That's a great show. That shows how many matches were excellent last night. My two main issues was, and one of them resolved itself. Honestly, I initially didn't care to see Keith Lee and Dijakovic go at it again. Boy, was I wrong. I wasn't gonna. It was like I just kind of wrote it off before it happened, and then the match started, and they didn't really seem to be lining up as well. Gorilla Strong and I were talking, and we're like, they kind of seem a little bit off. And then about 4 or 5 minutes in, they turned that around, and that was just a thing of magic. What a beautiful, beautiful match that was.
They did one thing in that match. Oh, but you know what? Before we get in this match, I got to say, dude, Sam Roberts and Mansoor, we have to talk about that.
Yes,
dude,
for the opening, the pre-show.
Sam Roberts, like, the crowd hates him, first of all, but second of all, he is not believable as this heel guy. Stop it. Please stop it, WWE. And, this morning, I rewatched NXT Portland. Like I rewatched NXT Portland, and then I listened to other people talk about it, and I knew what I wanted to talk about. And I heard some other people say that it's not the time anymore for that type of character. Oh, let me. I didn't realize I had the donations on. What up? Is that BD Skeleton?
It is indeed.
BD Skeleton, man, what's up? He's back. BD, thank you for the tip. By the way, if you guys like these live NXT reviews, show some love in the chat with the super chats and things like that. But I think that going forward, our NXT reviews are probably going to go exclusively over to Patreon.
Yeah, the weekly ones don't generate much. But
yeah, we don't do. I don't know. We don't do well on. I might still do the live ones, but after a takeover. But that's about it. But I'm going to try to bring my NXT reviews in podcast form over to Patreon. So just make sure you check up over there because we just don't do very well. But yeah, so they were like, a lot of people were like, well, nowadays we don't do that sort of. Bad guy, heel, commentator guy. That's so 80s and 90s. It's an old thing. Nobody does that. I disagree. I think we need that. I think we need somebody like that who can be awesome. Problem is, Sam Roberts sucks at that. Like, so it pisses me off that people out there are saying this. One of the guys that said this was Bryan Alvarez, and I want to choke his little fucking neck. I love you. I like Bryan, but it's like I want to rip his arms off, because I don't agree. I think they need somebody like a Jesse Ventura to be a sort of a patronizing douchebag heel guy.
Yeah, it complements and helps build sympathy and you can see the correlation between good and bad, and that's what helps brighten the lesser spots and whatnot. You need that distinction.
But obviously Sam Roberts sucks. So Corey Graves, I don't like what Corey Graves does with it. I definitely don't like what Sam Roberts does with it. Mansoor was pretty good. He was a little nervous because he kept turning to the crowd or kept trying to get the reaction. So he was a little weird, a little nervous, but he was actually pretty good. So Mansoor was pretty good. He got a reaction from the crowd.
Yeah, that was a good role for him, and that's how you get him more engaged with the NXT audience because we know he's
no.
Huge.
That's how you don't look like a moron when you roll him out for Saudi again.
Exactly. See, that's what I'm saying. You get people to realize who he is. And we know that they have the Super Showdown coming up, so I'm sure he'll be involved in there again. So these type of engagements for him to work, that's a class act. That's a great way to do it.
Well, the problem is, I thought Mansoor was a 7 out of 10 in his role. A little bit of green, but good. Sam Roberts, 3 out of 10. You suck, Sam. Stick to radio. You're lucky Opie and Anthony existed. If there was no Opie and Anthony, Sam Roberts would be digging in a trash barrel for a condom. All right, he'd be looking for a condom to use on his mom.
He'd be scavenging for food too. Corwin said in the chat as well, you know, the one that brought the signs for us with Travis, he said there were a few people getting their signs taken, but another thing, there was a guy that got ejected by WWE staff just for standing too much, but the arena staff let him come back in. So
what?
Imagine that, the arena staff you know, goes against the policy of WWE. That, at least they did that for him and let him back in. That's awful if that's how they're running things.
That is so weird. I mean, I got to make a whole separate video on that type of deal. But yeah, go back to the Keith Lee thing you said. You mentioned
even before this match, you know, as well, my only real complaint throughout the night was, you know, like I said, I kind of wrote off that match. We've seen it so many times before. I wish, for God's sake, they just could have a little bit of patience and reserve themselves every once in a while with WWE, because it's not an NXT fault, and I guarantee you NXT would have handled it different. I'm sure you would agree. But had Charlotte not come out on Raw and done this whole back and forth with Rhea Ripley already, we would have had a chance to enjoy last night more so, because you knew that Rhea Ripley was going to retain the title.
You're right.
That was so set in stone and just such a sure thing. There was no way around it. You knew it was going to happen, and you knew Charlotte would get involved afterwards. Had Charlotte not making any decision, we had no inkling, or at least nothing done so far. She just kind of strung fans along. They could have kept her off TV. It's only been 2 weeks. Have a little bit of patience. They could have, 2 Raws is all they needed to wait. Had they done that, and then Charlotte came out to attack Rhea Ripley, it would have been surprising, or at least, had more of an impact. And it could have seemed like Bianca Belair actually had a chance to get the title. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. We knew the outcome because of the WrestleMania implications.
Yeah, imagine if she had showed up out of nowhere, Charlotte, and we would have been like, oh, wow, she is going to whatever. And you're right.
From a match standpoint, it was a good match. It was very good. But unfortunately, it could have been great. But the emotion side of what we had, the interest, emotionally, wasn't there. I couldn't connect because I knew, hey, she's got no damn chance.
Right.
So, yeah, kicking things right off, Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic. I wasn't thrilled, with the idea of seeing these two, because they had the best of 7 series. They've worked as teammates. They've been enemies. They've been all over the place. And it starts off, we get some of the apron suplexes. We get the clubbing blows, as they call them. And then all of a sudden, they start to fire up the crowd. They are just beating each other senselessly, taking each other down to their knees. And then Dijakovic gets Lee to the ground with this huge discus lariat, and he lifts Lee to the top rope and hits him with that super angle slam. The crowd goes nuts. That's when the "This is awesome" chant starts.
Yeah. And
then from there, you get stiff forearms, and they're beating each other. And we got a bit of old school wrestling mixed with new school wrestling. And that's what I've been begging for ages now. That's one of the reasons I enjoy Keith Lee. This had a Hogan versus Warrior feel to it, because they were
those clotheslines,
Yeah, they were hulking up and powering up and turning towards the crowd. They got the crowd so involved that match came to like a fever pitch at one point.
Right.
Had the crowd been, another 3 seconds, somebody was going to orgasm. It was just...
That was the difference in this one versus their other ones. I don't think I remember seeing them do all that sort of charging and headbutting and clotheslining each other and being tired and falling on each other at that moment. That's why I really liked it. I saw some people saying it wasn't their best one, but I thought it was one of their most different ones.
Yeah, they tried new things, and you see he gets the spear bomb, he gets the kick out. But then, like you said, they added in, all the power strikes, and they had some great aerial maneuvers, and Keith Lee doing the Hurricane Rana, and just he's so damn impressive. But Dijakovic is so strong as well. The two of them just elevated each other, and then Dijakovic goes for the feast for your eyes, and his back gives up. So then you see Lee just plant him with that huge jackhammer power slam, and it's like, is this going to be it? And that's the finish now. Hot damn. I mean, the lariats and the reversals were next level, especially for someone who is just such a large, massed individual. So,
yeah, I mean,
thoroughly impressed, and a great show of respect at the end too. You know, they put each other over, and that's how it should be done.
By the way,
I was all about this.
Real quick trivia question for you and everybody out there. I know this because I'm a douchebag who lives here, but do you know who Dijak was trained by?
No, who?
Warbeard Hansen.
Oh, really?
Viking Raiders, Ivar.
I could have sworn I remember you saying that at one point in time a while back too, but I know you got to work with him as well. So
Dominic died. Dominic was trained by this man at Killer Kowalski's.
Yeah, because I mean they were all in MLW together for a long time.
Oh yeah,
I know Fish was there. I believe O'Reilly was there as well for a long time, and Warbeard, and obviously that was War Machine and Dijakovic.
Crazy man.
Someone sent me Dijakovic and Keith Lee's match from like 2012, 13, somewhere in that area, and that was so damn impressive then. So
yeah, man, all these guys run. It's just such a community out here. And I saw, by the way, anybody who's listening from here, not to take away, but real quickly, I just say Top Rope Promotions decided to go on with their show yesterday, despite Nick Steele passing away, because that's what Nick would have wanted. So the celebration of his life or whatever was just, I'm almost glad I wasn't there. I would have melted. But seeing his boots, all the stuff they did for him and everything. So shout out if anybody listens from there, and so many different people listen from all over New England. So shout out to you guys, man, for doing that. But anybody out there has got to remember his family because he's got 2 little kids. So hopefully we can figure that out. But anyway,
hopefully they're putting together something for him because that was touching to do. So
yeah, man, and this guy, Dijak knew all these guys. He knew Nick Steele. Nick Steele knew, all these people knew each other, and I saw all of them just tweeting and Facebooking about Nick Steele and everything, and it was just so. I just can't believe it, dude. I'm in fucking shock by it. I still can't believe it. Like it doesn't seem right.
I know it would happen so just randomly,
but
without warning.
Yeah, man, the Keith Lee and the. I liked it. Dijak and Lee, they tore it up again. I thought it was great. I thought, what a great start to this show. Troy saw it and he liked it. I was like, this is great. This is how you want to start the show. If this is how we're starting. Dude, when he did that dive off the front, or that springboard off the top rope, like, that was insane. Like
that was incredible. That's what I said. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's just a spot fest. I felt they told such a great story with the spots. Usually you just get flippy dippy at times.
No, yeah.
They had story elements, they had crowd interaction and participation. All of it was great.
The criticism,
they really went ahead and they killed it.
I think the criticism is just some of the no-sells, a little bit of no-sells. That's my only little criticism.
But I feel like that worked. And also people criticizing some of the no-sells are the ones that love the Young Bucks matches on AEW.
Exactly,
so you can't defend AEW as we did the week before with
and these are 2 brutes.
Tag team match.
These are big brooding guys, so they would sell less.
Exactly. It fit, and they told that type of story by the way they went in the ring.
By the way,
each one had some type of focus. This was like the powerhouses, so they wanted to go all out in sense of like test of strength, and that was a great story to the match.
Have you seen the criticism of Dijak about like, oh, that wasn't the best, and he's so generic, like, and he'll never be any. People were like, I saw it on a message board, and then I saw it in comments other places.
Yeah, I've seen some of it on Twitter as well, but I feel like
what? I mean, like, I think main roster is what they're talking about, and I can see what they're saying.
He wouldn't translate great to the main roster now. Keith Lee has a great deal of charisma. Dijakovic can get there in terms of character, but the thing is that they're working on him. He's still a work in progress. Keith also kind of got lucky pretty much by fan interaction, the bask in his glory and stuff. Like, not that he didn't earn it by proving himself in the ring, but because it's like one hand complemented the other. They were able to make him more prevalent and relevant because of Full Sail giving him that kind of treatment.
I just realized I missed something. I'm actually watching as we're talking about it to see to make sure I hit on everything, and I'm like skipping around it, looking at it. But he actually did that running spaceman dive over. I didn't realize he did that. I thought he didn't, and Keith Lee caught him. I looked up at some point and saw Keith Lee catch him. I didn't realize it was because he came from inside the ring to outside the ring. But a lot of close strikes and blows and elbows and things like that. So like I really did, like Jake, I really appreciated it. I think one of the problems for some people, maybe, I think this match, I mean, I don't really have a problem with the way the card was placed, but man, I almost wonder if this match should have been in the middle, because this would have broken up the constant like false finish, flippy dippy fly, because Finn Balor and Gargano, and then the tag match, and then the main event. You know, the two matches to me that were different than anything was the opening match, this one, you know, even though they've wrestled a whole bunch against each other, but this match was different, I thought. And then the women's hardcore or whatever match. What did they call that anyway? Do you remember what they called it? Was it a street fight?
It was just a street fight, yeah.
Okay. So the women's street fight in this stood out to me as different stuff. So we saw two different things to begin the show. Well, we saw one match we've seen a bunch, but a different version of it. And then we saw the different street fight, which hadn't been done like that in a while. And then we saw a lot of the sort of the similar stuff in a row. So I would have broken it up maybe, but fuck it. It was great. It doesn't matter. But yeah, so this match, man, I'm giving this I give that match, you know, if they had, there's a couple little things that I would have fixed, but I mean, we're talking about nitpicking shit. I'd give it an 8.5. Yeah. I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10.
I'm right there with you. It was so damn perfectly executed, and you know, storytelling, all of it. There was a great deal of escalation, which is kind of the theme of the night. The epitome of this match to me was like, anything you can do, I can do better. That's where they were going with this. You know, oh, you tried this, well, now I'm going to do this, and you know, they really went tit for tat and tried to outstrength each other, but in a story perspective where it actually made sense. So I loved it.
Yeah, man, I really did appreciate it. Keith Lee and Dijak, great job, 8.5. I literally have to nitpick to try to talk about something negatively, because like that's how good it was last night. But yeah, so on to the women's match. Holy shit, bro. Like, I went into this like, I don't really care. I kind of know about the story. I like them both, so let's see what happens. Kind of like, here we go, all right. And when Dakota Kai attacked Tegan right off the bat, it was like, oh, she waffled her.
Right off the bat with a cricket bat.
Yeah, like just waffled her.
She broke the bat on the ring post, and you know, it was like, holy hell. And then from there, she hit her head with the senton and the trash can lid.
She hit her with a cricket bat?
Yeah.
Like in the ramp?
No, she hit her with the cricket bat, and then she broke the bat on the ring post. You know, aiming to swing.
Wait, to start the shit. Wait, when she jumped her, she hit her with. I didn't even notice that.
She pulled it out from under the ring, like.
Oh no! I mean, I mean when she came out at the beginning and
right.
jumped.
Yeah,
her.
Before they even, because she got the drop on her right away, and you know they're tackling each other through the barricade, and she's just tossing all the weapons in the ring. You get trash cans and chairs.
The first thing, Jake, was first she gets hit from behind, but the big thing. Entrance. When Dakota Kai took Tegan Knox's head and smashed her into the steel guardrail or the railing, it looked
she
fucking
put her right through the barricade.
Awesome. Like, no, not through the barricade, but when she threw her face into the steel mesh, it was like, psh, and it looked fucking awesome. So that, here it is. Oh my God, dude, it's great. Hold on, let me get it up. Let me get this. Listen to this. Oh, you won't be able to hear it. Fuck.
I can hear it on the stream.
Just I love this, man. Somebody gift this shit because it's so good. I can't really play it because I'm afraid to from WWE, but
sadly,
it's so good. She smashes her face into the black guardrail or whatever it is, and exactly, the big crunch, and it looked awesome. Like, it looked like, when we talk about selling, you know, we're always talking about like nobody sells anymore the way they used to. Everybody's like soft selling, and I'm talking about, like, I want to see some Roddy Piper, Bret Hart, Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, Eddie Guerrero, even, like, stuff like, even from the Ruthless Aggression era stuff. Like, show me some kind of, like, selling, for Christ's sake. And these girls did it. These girls sold so much in this match. This is the first time in a long time I saw two women go out there and look like they had a fucking real match. It was unbelievable.
AEW, your heart out.
Suck an asshole, AEW.
I love the story too. I mean, I know you weren't fully invested, but
yeah, I am now.
This, to me, I've been following, you know, for a while now, and you know, Tegan Knox worked so hard to recover. Well, so did Dakota Kai. I mean, that was kind of the story. They were rehabbing, you know, knee injuries at the same time. And then for her to turn on her at War Games so unexpectedly, and then she exemplified a heel pulling like, what Ciampa did at a time where she's coming out with no theme song. Dakota Kai would come out to the ring playing Tegan Nox screaming in agony and in pain from when she attacked her. That was her entrance music. And that's how dastardly she went as a heel.
That's great.
It was so glorious. And like you said, they killed each other before they even got into the ring. And then, obviously Kai is just throwing all the weapons into the ring after the bell rings. And again, escalation. Now we get the trash can spot where she does the senton onto it. And, then they go ahead and they drag out the table. So you got, Chekhov's gun there. Eventually it's going to be used, but they kind of dance around the table for a while. They don't actually, that's supposed to be the finish for the end. And there was one point where Nox hits like a ton of kicks, one after the other. And then she smacked her in the back with the trash can. And I was like, holy hell, that just looked painful.
Dude, she DDT'd her at the beginning after she went through the guardrail. She DDT'd her onto the guardrail.
Yeah.
Like, it was like succession after success. And I'm not somebody who likes stiff. I don't like stiff. Like, you got to understand that. But, like, it was succession after succession of, like, devastating move executed by these women.
Stiff work from the women on any type of NXT main roster, even AEW work, so you see it in the indies, obviously, in smaller promotions, but as far as the bigger brands, you never see stiff work unless it's an accident. Yeah. This was what made it stand out. We even saw the Molly go round at one point, which I thought was entertaining. And she kicked her head and trapped it in the opening of the chair and just, she booted the chair into the face of her when she was holding it up. I was like, damn, they really went at each other. Dude. And then she gets the metal chain out and she's using it like, like a brass knuckles almost. And she's punching her braced leg. And I'm like, oh, there we go. She's trying to re-injure her knee. And, she ended up seeing Tegan get the shiniest wizard, but she's not going to go for the pin. She's got the table set up. So she puts her on the table. She goes up top. And then this is where a lot of people were lost. But I like the fact that they brought Gonzalez in here.
Well, wait a minute, Jake. You're skipping one of the best things ever. She fucking smashes, I think, Dakota Kai in the face with a fucking trash can lid. Did you mention that? Because it is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, listen to this. I got the audio. She waffled her. Listen to this. Everybody. I'm sure you heard it. Holy Christ. Dude, I have to explain this fucking sequence. Fucking Tegan Nox is running at Dakota Kai, who ducks a clothesline. And as Dakota Kai turns around, she picks up Tegan Nox, puts Tegan Nox on the mat, throws her onto the mat, onto her butt. In the same breath, as she lets go of her and Tegan Nox is still landing on the apron, Dakota's already gone for the trash barrel lid and then smashes her in the face. And the best thing about it is Tegan threw her hand up to block it.
Yeah.
She threw her hand up to block it and then took it down. Like, instinctively, like, oh, let me block it. Oh, take it back down. It smashed and then clocked in the face. Dude, that was fucking awesome. I'm sorry. This was the shit. This was so fucking good, dude.
And commentary sold it so well. They made it sound like they were dying, and Nigel's pleading for them to stop the match. And, suddenly we get Raquel Gonzalez to come up. And obviously it's a bit of a name change. I forget what her name was beforehand in the Mae Young Classic.
It didn't matter. Fuck her.
And, she comes up to the top rope and she slams Tegan onto the table, but she didn't quite, because it was still a good ways away. So she kind of jumps backwards and you get the I am the table spot. I am the tabor, so that didn't break. But that didn't bother me because it hurts worse when the table doesn't break.
It looked even more horrific.
So then she goes ahead and Kai is acting, scared and timid and skittish. She doesn't know if she's going to get her ass kicked too, but then she, goes over and gets the pinfall. And she, Gonzalez lifts Kai's arm up, and now even more was like, oh, Kai's even confused. But I was like, damn. And some people were complaining, like, who the hell is this? And oh, you give AEW shit for bad introductions. Commentary told you, oh, she's so and so from the Mae Young Classic. She competed here before. We've seen her before. What is she doing? Like, at least they sold it and explained who. They told us her name, so we didn't get who's that. Who's that? oh, the Blade, the Bunny,
Yeah.
At least he said, oh, she competed in the Mae Young Classic, and now we had a small introduction, and it told a decent story about how now this isn't done yet. So my guess is we'll probably see Candice LeRae team up with Tegan Knox.
Well, also, so that did bother me. I wanted to once I realized that we were getting a match that I loved. It did bother me that it was ruined. Not ruined, but that it kind of had that ending. So the ending kind of brought it, because I was ready to give this match a 9 as well. I'm gonna give this a fucking 9 if this keeps going this way. I'm gonna give this a 9. And then
it wasn't Raquel. It was Reina Gonzalez. Okay, that was her name beforehand. I knew it was same last name but different first name.
Raquel Gonzalez.
Yeah, but and to me, it wasn't ruined. Honestly, it's
not ruined. It's not ruined. It just ruined the perfect. I was gonna give it an 8.5 or a 9. Now I'd probably give it. I mean, dude, I'm trying to figure out if that was my favorite match of the night. The women's match.
I could see that, and knowing what they did here and having it get like essentially a no finish. To me, I'm actually anticipating what we're gonna get down the road after seeing what they gave each other here. So I didn't mind the interference at all, because had she just pinned, put her through the table and pinned her there, it's over. And this is one of the feuds that I feel like can benefit from, a little bit more longevity. So
yeah, I think
especially with the way they handled it.
They've got these two. I mean, I'm telling you, man, I loved this match. That match was so goddamn good. Like, oh my God, the table not breaking didn't matter, really. Like you said, it just looked more horrific.
Yeah, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's a botch, but I would always want the table to break anytime going through it. When you bounce off that like that, oh God, that hurts.
Like, those girls didn't look like...
Because you come to a full stop, so...
They didn't look like women who came in and were just trained in the NXT facility. They didn't look like women who, wanted to do something else but then became a wrestler, I guess. They didn't look like... They didn't have those soft, shitty cross bodies and botches.
No, they put their body on the line.
Oh my God, dude, this was so fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, I can't believe how good this match was. This was my favorite women's match. I think, unless maybe I'm forgetting something, somebody tell me. But I think this was my favorite women's match in the last 2 or 3 years.
And that's the thing, because I do enjoy Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Ruby Riott. I like these people. They have interesting characters sometimes, but when you see what we have in NXT that could be on the main roster, I mean, we could be having these type of matches regularly. I'm not just saying hardcore and street fights, but that type of work, consistency, that work rate. That's what they had done. Discerning.
If they had done this match, say the ending didn't happen the way it happened, say the match went on another 5 minutes, and it ended with a big win for somebody, and it was crazy, and it was maybe the match ended with Dakota Kai, or she's the bad one, so maybe Tegan Knox reverses Dakota Kai into a chair that's set up in the turnbuckle pad, and she smashes head first into the chair, comes out of it. What's Tegan Knox's finisher?
She does the shiniest wizard. The shiny wizard.
So even better. So imagine 5 more minutes of that match, and then a reversal Irish whip hard into the buckle head first, and she hits her face in the chair, smashes through the chair, turns around, falls down to the knee, and then hits her with the wizard, and fucking wins the match. That's a WrestleMania classic. If that happened at WrestleMania, that's a never gonna forget that at WrestleMania match.
Because Dakota Kai does this great backstabber, pretty much. It's the Kaio driver, and I could totally see her doing that with some type of metal in between, like trash can lid or something. That would have been great too. But I had picked Dakota Kai to win with the predictions I did with Spaz Phoenix, and I genuinely thought that this would be a way to continue the feud. I originally envisioned Tegan Knox would have the upper hand, but then show just a glimpse, a second of compassion through Dakota Kai, being I'm sorry, or forgive me, something like that, where she feigned innocence just for a glimpse, and it was just to trick her into second guessing her motivations. So just enough to take her off her game. I pictured Dakota Kai doing something like that. I didn't see the interference coming, but I thought it worked, and it helps keep the story going. It was a good mix of action and storytelling as well, and I would give this one an 8 all day. Maybe even an 8.5.
By the way, I think there was a spot you were talking about with kicks. I think it's the part when Dakota Kai went for her running kick finisher in the corner. She does,
yeah.
And Tegan moved out of the way and she got her leg hung up. And then Tegan, the one time I didn't mind the super kicks, she super kicked her in the face like 3 times, like punches.
Yeah, she just kept going over and over and over.
And unlike most of the kicks that that happened a million times throughout the night like that, that was the one I didn't mind because, you know, Dakota was hung up and it made sense that she was like, oh, I'm going to pound her. And then she stayed there. So, oh, fuck, I'll hit her again.
Oh,
so
fuck me too. I forgot about the duct tape part too.
Yeah, she duct taped.
There's so many parts of it where she duct taped her Nox's right hand to the bottom of the turnbuckle, and you know, Kai dropping the boots on her literally went ahead and helped separate her hand from the turnbuckle. Even that looked painful. I was like, Jesus, you know. They did not play around then. I really wish they did a little bit more with the chain, you know, because she had it just beating the crap out of her leg brace with it. But I wish maybe she tried to, you know, like we saw beforehand, pull some type of like submission out of it. And then from there, I wish we got a little bit of color, but beggars can't be choosers. I mean, that's a
dreamless
scenario.
I will tell you what, if fucking Dakota Kai's head got busted open and she had been thrown into a chair to end it and fallen on her knees after hitting the chair head first and got the Shiningest Wizard to the head, like, and then Tegan won, oh my God, dude, I would have jerked off to this match, not because they're women either, but just because it would have been awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That would.
I like how you have to say that, like, you know.
Yeah, it's not
because
even,
it's women, but that's the point. I would have
also
been furiously masturbating if we saw a little bit of blood.
Tegan Nox's, or rather, her throw of the chair, like here, catch, and then kicked her in the head with the chair. That was also executed well because sometimes you see people throw and hold the chair forever, and it's like, what are you doing? But she kind of. They almost missed it, but they just got it enough that it was done quick enough. I've seen a lot of guys look really goofy when you throw the chair up and the guy holds it and then like stays there forever, like awkwardly.
Like they're looking into a mirror.
Yeah, I like if I was a trainer, I would be like, you have 3 seconds, fucking throw, catch, and you have to already be ready to. You have to throw and be kicking almost. At the same time.
Have to already be engaged in the kick, or else it doesn't work.
Or it looks stupid. And I
should be kicking while you throw the damn chair.
And I would say
and that's basically what they did.
There's a 3 count. I would say 1, 2, 3. If you haven't kicked by that 3, it's gonna look fucking retarded.
Yeah,
and,
drop the chair.
And they didn't get 1 or 2, but they got it done by 3. So I give it to them, and that's always been my thing. These are just my rules. I'm making this shit up. But you know match,
that type of orchestrated timing makes it believable, and that's what I give them so much credit for. From top to bottom with this show, even people complaining about the kickouts, I didn't have a problem with because I felt like it was believable. Who
was complaining about the kickouts? What?
A lot of people were upset with, you know, throughout the night. I saw the biggest complaint was, oh, there's too many kickouts. There's too many kickouts, you know. And I know usually I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I felt like for some, I've criticized it at other takeovers before. I've brought this up, but for me tonight,
you know what people have to realize, Jake. They have to realize that we're watching NXT, and I think one of the things we all have to do is we kind of have to realize. Do you know how I always use Star Trek to fucking give examples. Do you know how the Star Trek movies are like a different timeline? Like they explain that it's still Star Trek, but there's a different timeline, or that the things are different in this universe versus the other universe. And even though things are a little bit different and break the rules a little bit, you kind of just ignore it and realize this one's like this one's like that. NXT kind of has a different rule book. Like it's kind of
its own universe essentially.
It's its own universe.
AEW. It's a new school way of wrestling. And if you're not a huge fan of it, that's okay. But even if it's not something that you're a huge proponent of, because I'm not crazy about it.
I'm not either, but yeah.
But last night I felt like it worked. Not one time did I feel like it took me out of it. I'm like, okay, he shouldn't have kicked out of that.
Do you know what? Are you talking about the main event mostly?
Just people complained about the women's match too. So
what?
It wasn't a loud voice, but it was definitely something that I noticed.
The main event
being criticized.
The problem for the main eventers, the problem for them is all of these other matches with all of these kickouts and everything that was going on. Now you literally have to go on as the main event. How the fuck are you going to top everything we saw tonight, or try to top?
It's a struggle of escalation. Again, they have to outdo everything you saw. And how can you physically do that without adding more kickouts and more, leverage? That's pretty much it. So
my answer would be, slowing a match down with like a blood spot or a big thing that happens. But
and we have gotten that from NXT at times too.
Yes, they've done it.
So
they did really good. I mean, this I'm telling you, man.
But that wouldn't fit Adam Cole and Ciampa. That isn't their forte nor their style, and what we got from them. But we'll get there. Finn Balor, Gargano.
Oh, Jake, real quick, let me play a donation here.
Oh yeah.
People are waiting. I forgot.
Super chat.
I forgot.
The AU Scooby-Doo tagged with Jesus after she end.
Yeah, dude, what was up with the crowd, man? The crowd had fucking Scooby-Doo, Jesus. They had Rasputin, Mighty Ducks. I mean, what the hell was going on?
Party.
Thank you, the Goon.
Rhea killed Bianca while she had the agenda written all over her back. Poop. Then Charlotte finished her off and we have a real title match to look forward to. Thanks again to Jake for hopping on the pod.
Hey, Spaz Phoenix, man. Spaz Phoenix podcast on Spotify or YouTube.
Yeah, it was a little telling with her having Black History in the making on her robe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little weird. Because, okay, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
it's one of those things where...
She could have lost anyway, even with that.
Well, no, exactly, but... And this was building to her being the #1 contender, so I'm okay with that. But typically, you happen to see African-American stars get pushed every February, like clockwork with WWE. So
we went from complaining that they're racist and never push anybody to every February. You know what happened? It's kind of funny.
But it's sad that once you hit March, typically they're whoever it is, they're forgotten about. So
see you later. We did our duty. Yeah.
Just like we saw Sonya Deville get a storyline at Gay Pride Month, and once July comes, who?
By the way, a lot of people thought that Raquel chick was Sonya Deville.
She had that look to her.
She kind of looks like her.
Yeah, she does. Just a little bit, larger version. So
yeah, bigger version, parrot face.
There's a picture you have of that was, going through the slideshow that you were showing here of Finn Balor when Johnny Gargano is standing behind him, and you see Finn's thighs.
Oh yeah, they're like ripped, like tons.
They are so ripped. Has that man ever eaten a carb in his life? Like, here's my pudgy ass looking at him, feeling like I am a whole just sack of shit. I am a total failure.
Dude.
My God. His body is insane.
It's him and
Gargano's so fucking impressive.
Gargano has I don't think the guy has any body fat on his body, Gargano.
Either one of them. I mean, I am so astoundingly impressed by both of them. That physique is talk about dedication. I mean, all the wrestlers work so hard.
Are you gonna whack
knowing
off?
That they don't, they're not. Hey, more power to them.
Yeah, no, I've said this about Gargano before, but watching Finn too, it's like we're watching probably the most in shape two guys battle each other. I didn't like their match as it started at first. I kind of was like, here we go, Finn Balor.
Yeah, we were live in your chat, and they had agreed that it needed to pick up the pace. But I know what they were going for. So as much as they wanted to target each other's. Basically, they focused on previous injuries, and they wanted to go ahead and focus on finishers, and that's a bit of more of an old school technique that we don't get to see a lot of. So we had it in the first match with the hulking up and the playing to the audience. Now we have limb targeting, which is a great way to tell a story because, all right, I want to take out your shoulder, I'm going to take out your knee, and they sold those injuries for the rest of the match as well, very efficiently. So. I did like how they tried to make sure to take each other out. Like, it was tit for tat with the exchange.
I didn't like their match. It wasn't my type of match. It was great. They did a really good job. I liked it. I take it back. I like it, and it was really good. It's not my style of match that I enjoy. The coup de grace from the top rope at the end was horrific. I mean, that was really awesome.
Yeah, that was beyond deadly.
Yeah, I mean, Troy thought he died. Like, I mean, Troy is sitting next to me. He never seen that, I don't think, or didn't really.
He put everything he had into it. And yeah, Gargano matches, Matt's right, they usually do start slow, and Finn needs a minute to get into gear. But there was one point where they were together towards the ring ropes, and Gargano had his knee basically twisted with a dragon screw, and you even had Beth Phoenix being like, that's how you can tear an MCL and ACL. Like the commentary was so complimentary of that match, and basically explaining what the devastation like power of each move and what it could accomplish. You know, this will do this to the body. This will affect this area. Like, they were very scientific at times, but it helped sell what was going on in the ring. So I really liked the play-by-play that was going on with commentary.
Yeah, they did a good job. I thought
we don't get to compliment them enough, and they worked really well together. Morrow wasn't overly hyped. Like, he was loud. He was effervescent and extremely, like, you know, bubbly as he usually is, but he wasn't cutting anyone else off, I felt, most times either.
I did notice he seemed a little more backed off than usually. You think he finally was like, maybe I do need to calm down a little bit.
So I noticed that, and it worked well. We got to hear from Beth. Nigel was very informative.
Well, you know, Troy did not like Beth. What did you think about her?
Really? I liked her. I liked what she had to add. Like, during Bianca's match, she's like, I've seen how hard she hits, and referring to her being injured in the ring. You know, she's like, I've felt her pain. You know, I've been bloodied, and so having that experience, that made it a bit more relatable. But so yeah, back to the match. These two, you know, that shotgun drop kick that when Gargano went into the barricade, I was like, oh my God, that was so intense. They just really worked each other over for a long time. And as I said, you know, Beth saying like, oh, that's how you get certain injuries. And then they start to get through the submission, you know, the Indian deathlocks, things like that. Now they start to pick up the pace. And Gargano gets out of the Bloody Sunday attempt by shoving Balor into the steel steps on the outside. And then he hits him with a cannonball from the apron, and you get that huge slingshot spear. And now they're really starting to go at it. So, you know, we start seeing top rope maneuvers, and the super kick Gargano nails Balor with at ringside looked brutal as well. I mean, that was stiff. And then they start blocking each other, you know. So Gargano goes for the slingshot DDT, and you just see Balor toss him right into the turnbuckle as a way to, you know, counter the move, and they really start to just play off each other. And I felt like from there, you know, they really took it into a higher gear. So we saw a lot of reversals. You know, he goes for the coup de grace, and then we get a slingshot DDT, and then we get, you know, the other drop kick, and again, he goes for the coup de grace, and it gets blocked, and now he locks Balor in the Gargano escape, and you see Finn just trying to roll around the ring like a friggin' alligator to try and get out of the submission. And then he gets the double stomp and the Bloody Sunday. And then he goes right back into the, you know, the Gargano escape. Like, it was just move after move, and it was really impactful. So I thoroughly enjoyed this, and they gave them a ton of time. Some people said it ran a bit long. I felt it was perfect in length, and it helped lead into the psyche change of Gargano later in the night. I feel like this was the setup that we would have play out later on, because this was such an important victory for Johnny. Had he not been able to quell the challenge that Finn Balor put forth, what did he have left? What does he have to prove? He failed. So it really exemplifies, you know, that story as well. And I was thoroughly, you know, impressed with all that they went ahead and had. You know, it really came down to the point of the announce table. You know, when they were on the outside, it seemed like Johnny had the you know, basically the lead in the match at that point in time. And then he, instead of going back into the ring, he goes for the DDT, and he's like, nope. He clears the Spanish announce table. And then that gave Finn a chance to recover, and he suplexes him right into the announce table. And then, you know, he goes ahead and gets him back inside. You get the, you know, the double finger guns and the Bloody Sunday for the victory. And it was brutal. So that was after the coup de grace that looked like took the life out of his soul.
A horrific coup de grace, yeah.
You know, it was a super sick landing. I agree, Matt. And yeah, so I mean, I feel like this really, really went ahead and told the story of, like, you know, what are we going to get from Johnny now? What can he do to recover? You know, he's failed, and he said how important this match was to him. And, you know, he's been on a downward slump. He needed this to avenge the injury that Balor gave him, and he just came up short, and he has no one to blame but himself. So that is going to weigh heavily on his psyche, and that's why he turns later on his, you know, best friend.
He also did a couple of Finn's moves.
Yes.
In the match, which was weird, but yeah, it's just I didn't care for the turn as much yet. That's the one. I mean, I'm skipping ahead, but We'll talk about that afterwards. But
So we got Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair next.
By the way, not a million tag teams. Like, that's the difference with this and AEW. First of all,
just one.
Like, oh my God, man! If AEW could just tone down their tag team stuff or multi-man fucking shit. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that is a great point. Just one. It was for the tag titles.
Yeah, it meant a lot more because of that. I feel like,
and a great use of the women as well. We had one, title defense and one street fight. So 2 different styles for the women. Really made it, a more interesting night. The Rhea Ripley Bianca Belair match is okay. It was a good match, but like I said, I knew there was no way that Ripley was going to lose here, and I kept waiting for either interference or for Charlotte to appear after the match, and that's exactly what they got. It doesn't take away from what we got in the ring, but I mentally just couldn't get myself to get into the match as much as I should have. I wanted to, because they really did well in the ring with each other. Bianca Belair.
I think they blocked my fucking reaction with Troy.
Really?
Yeah. From yesterday. I think they blocked it. I think I just got a notification.
Oh, Jesus.
Mankind.
There was a 4-second
up.
clip of audio in the background.
Well, no, it says Back in Black. But it says, oh, wait a minute. Maybe it's not. What the fuck?
Oh, for a song playing?
No, but
if a song was heard in the background.
Oh yeah. It's from. You know what though? It's a video that I privated a long time ago from Jesus. Top Rope Promotions. Back in Black was playing in the background by SME, and the video title is called ULJ, and I'm like, what's that? As I go to play it right now, so don't ever play Back in Black by AC/DC.
Yeah, any music nowadays, they don't just take a claim against your revenue. They just take your whole video down now.
Yeah, they took the whole thing down for Back in Black. For
when Otis caught Mandy, I had a cover of Careless Whisper that I used.
Yeah.
It was 4 seconds long of the saxophone intro.
Yeah.
But it was somebody else playing it, and they took the entire video down. So that's when I had to re-upload it for the countdown without that clip. It was 4 seconds long, just a little bit of the saxophone trying to be funny. And no, you can't, even if I've seen people put out musical covers that they did themselves, singing and, playing acoustic and whatnot, and they'll get the videos claimed because it sounds too alike.
Well, my video I put up earlier that you guys might have saw for the Raw preview tonight, I put it up, immediately it got demonetized and said not suitable. I'm like, how could this be not suitable? It's a Raw preview. Don't even think I swore in it. It's I don't understand. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we saw some really impressive moments from Belair. They did make her look, decently strong throughout. I'm happy that it wasn't just a full-on, squashing train wreck from Rhea Ripley. She was able to, escape the Glam Slam, and, that got Beth Phoenix to chime in again. And then Belair gave Ripley like a really scary looking backdrop. She had a hard landing with that.
Yeah,
that looked pretty painful, but they kind of staggered. You got to fight to the outside, and she slams her into the top turnbuckle after that, and Ripley is able to block the superplex attempt from the corner, and then she goes for the sunset flip. Belair blocks that, and Rhea goes ahead and pulls her right into the pump handle. She hits her with Riptide, and that's it. 13 minutes 30 seconds. And that's when Charlotte comes out and, she said that Payback's a bitch. And
that was my least favorite.
I'll see you at WrestleMania.
That was my least favorite match of the night. Was the women's
I would give the
match
itself a 7, and I, like I said, I feel bad nitpicking the women, but I had such a lowered interest in this because I knew already there was no chance for Rhea Ripley to lose the title here. And a lot of people seem to think that it'll be a triple threat at Mania, but I don't see it going that way. I honestly just feel like we're going to get the one-on-one Charlotte and Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's what I feel like they're going to be one-on-one.
I think Bianca Belair was just a stepping stone at this point in time.
Yeah, I don't think Bianca's going to be anywhere there yet. She's going to be.
This makes me wonder: is Rhea Ripley going to defend the title the night before WrestleMania at the Takeover? I doubt that's going to happen. That would be silly for her to face someone in NXT.
Yeah, no way.
When she had, so now the women's title isn't being defended at that takeover. So that's a bit of a drag as well. That's why.
What if Charlotte was there instead of WrestleMania?
That's what my thought was. Make the main event of that, Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley for the women's title, and that could be your main event. That's what should have happened. People say, "Oh, that's a slight to the Royal Rumble winner." Well, that's that's what you chose to compete.
She's chosen to do it. That's already that's her own. She's stupid then. If it's
exactly, and you shouldn't. If you're challenging for the NXT title, then it should be on NXT. I know you're trying to give exposure to NXT by including them on WrestleMania, which I'm not against. But when you choose to fight somebody, it should be on their show. So I think that would be a better main event. But
by the way, a quick reminder: if you guys have questions for me and Jake, aside from donating live right now, obviously. On Patreon for our next post show, for our next little podcast on Patreon, questions are posted. I see like 4 of them right now. So if you haven't asked a question there, make sure you do that. It can be wrestling, non-wrestling related, whatever you want. And let me play the last of these donations real quick here.
What else we got? Oh,
bubbly.
A little bit of the bubbly.
That's it.
Want some bubbly? Look at this stuff. Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
That's it.
How much fish could Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could fry fish? Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks at WrestleMania 36. Take my motherfucking money, Triple H. Suck it.
I guess it's still cutting off the donations. Suck a dick, Tommy. That feels so good to say, says Mike Ameltoe. What's up, Mike Ameltoe? Yeah, I didn't like the broski guys doing the that fish thing.
That cracked me up. How much fish could Bobby Fish fry?
Super chat.
No, I couldn't do it.
Bask in his glory hole. Thoughtful face. Frog.
Oh my
smiley
God.
Face.
Bask in his glory hole. Oh man, I'm 5, so that was great, Mike Ameltoe.
Super chat party.
Spaz Phoenix.
Tonight on Raw, Becky Lynch Vampire Slayer.
Becky the Vampire Slayer tonight. It could be.
I hope she already called herself that in some interviews. I really hope that they don't push the gimmick with Baszler as the vampire.
Oh, no.
I wish she just did it like I wanted to hurt you, and that was the easiest way to do. I wanted to leave a mark, Don't make her into a vampire.
I should have a new T-shirt where I look like Keith Lee, and it says "Bask in his glory hole."
That'd be great.
That would be really funny.
Get a bathroom stall.
I would sell 5. It would be crazy. Sell 5 T-shirts.
Yeah, I like the whole Bobby Fish fry fish thing, and the crowd was into it.
Like he couldn't deliver that line. Like he forgot.
He was stoned out of his mind.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man. Matt Riddle did not look right in the match, and he wasn't right on the mic. It was very awkward to me. The first time he did it, it was kind of funny to me. This time it wasn't. It was kind of forced, and I could feel the crowd going like they were cheering everything, so it didn't matter. But they kind of were like, okay.
It wasn't as funny as the first time. Matt said, it was funny the first time, not the second. They're forcing it like AEW does.
Stop doing it. That's exactly right,
I don't think
Matt.
they'll do it from here on out. But I think the reason they were doing it last night, honestly, is because of the merch. They made T-shirts and it said the Bros are weights, and the fish lyrics on the front. So that went up immediately, and so I think that was the intended goal. Had there not been merch involved, I don't think they would have redone it.
Yeah.
But I laughed just because they're entertaining, and seeing Pete Dunne, who is just the polar opposite of Riddle, react in such a way. He's so dry and introverted. It's been overly comical. So I appreciate what we got from those two. Them coming out.
They remind me of hockey players, man. They look like a hockey team, dude. They really do. Not because of the Stanley Cup behind them, but because like they just remind me of that. I've seen Bruins videos where like a couple of the guys are on the road or something like that, and it totally reminds me of that. Like it's probably the whole bro thing with one of the guys who's quiet. Like Pete Dunne will like fucking break someone's wrist, and Matt Riddle will smoke your fucking living room up.
Yeah,
but I still like him. It was just I thought it was a little too goofy.
The double submission moment was great. I love that they teased us too. At one point the teammates they hit each other accidentally. You saw Riddle and Dunne. You saw the accidental spear that happened, and you're like, oh, are they gonna turn on each other? Is that gonna But that's not what ensued. So I'm glad that they tried to give us. you know, a little bit of a turnaround there and just another what if, because we've seen in this scenario before Pete Dunne get screwed by Roderick Strong. So it made you worry if history was going to repeat itself.
Yeah, we've seen it before.
Yeah. And then the ending, you know, where you know, Pete Dunne goes to bite O'Reilly's hand, but did the finger break, and you know, that's when Riddle comes in and accidentally gave Dunne the spear, and I was like, oh shit, maybe they're gonna try and say like that's how they don't get the titles. But I'm glad they stripped the gold from Undisputed Era at this point, because it's great to, you know, to have them as a group. I thought Adam Cole was going to lose at the end, so I thought they were going to take all the gold away from them, but I think having him remain the only champion, the ego will prevail, and that will be the dissolution, or, you know, the breakdown of this group. Because there's only so much more we can see them be together for. Obviously, they're going to start transitioning to the main roster soon, and we know that they're going to have to, you know, disassemble at some point.
They're not going to keep them all together?
I don't think so, personally.
Wow.
I really don't. I can see Fish and O'Reilly staying together, but
Why Society called that shit too, and he said they're going to have those belts.
Yeah, Why Society also said that we'd see Ciampa as a face and Gargano as a heel, you know? He said it like a year ago.
Why is on it, man. But yeah, so that the tag match was good too, but
I loved it. So many high octane moves. The crowd was nuts for this.
Legal men in the ring though, like
that just seems to be a problem with all this new era tag team wrestling, because there's so much going on. So,
dude, they were in the ring for like 10 hours. I felt like it was the problem with the match for me was there was an illegitimate win. Like they like all four men were in the ring for 3 minutes or something.
Yeah, because Dunne gets out of the total elimination, and then Riddle tags in. He gives Fish like a big high knee. And then they go ahead and you see the power bomb double team move, and then the double knees, and then you go right into the Enziguri to get the victory. So
just take away tags. Just let the guys all just go.
Yeah, make it a tornado tag match instead of having, you know, where both men can compete at the same time.
Yeah, because what's the point? You know what I mean? Like at this point,
because they're already doing that pretty much by having both men compete at the same time. So
yeah. So anyway, and once I get over that, which really did irritate me, because you can tell because I'm talking about it. It was fun. It was good.
I had fun with this one, as well as like enjoying the story that they told, and some of the maneuvers. I mean, my God, they were pretty damn stiff too, and they just leveled each other at certain points. So O'Reilly and Fish obviously are masters at tag team work, and that's why it was so impressive to see, you know, their opponents work so well as a tag team also. And I like the fact of, usually when you get these makeshift teams thrown together, there's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no justification. Like Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy, you're like, oh Christ, you know, and they're beating real tag teams.
Right.
Now they're a group. I mean, that's not the best example, but typically, you know, you get two stars who aren't a team, who haven't worked together, and they suddenly pair them together to go for the tag titles just to give them something to do. At least in this, it makes sense because they teamed them up for the Dusty Classic, and then they earned their way to a #1 contender spot to go for a title match. So it's not a huge, you know, takeaway for them to become the tag champs. They had to go through multiple matches and win a tournament to get this opportunity.
And not only that, you know, Triple H talked about it on the post call or whatever, the media call, and he's like, yeah, we wanted to put them together and see what happens, but we didn't know it was going to be that good, you know. And so
exactly. So
then when they realized, wow, we got something huge here. So like, I like the idea that they threw that. Fuck was that? I like the idea. Someone drilled upstairs. I like the idea that they threw them together with kind of an idea that this could be pretty good if we try this, and then the idea that it worked out so more well than they thought, and they were like, "Wow, we really got something going on now." So that was really cool. That's how that worked out. And you know, Matt Riddle. I'm not even the biggest Matt Riddle fan myself, but this is a guy who should be on the main roster.
I imagine he'll be transitioning up very soon,
because
he'll be called up.
The reason why is because he doesn't really fit with the other guys in NXT who go crazy in these matches for a long period of time. He's got sort of runs out of stuff after about 8 minutes to me.
Yeah.
But
He'll be better suited for a main roster run.
And he's got the character and the presence with the no shoes on and the bro thing.
Yeah.
And it's just
the stoner gimmick, he's the Jay and Silent Bob kind of idea.
If he comes up to the main
roster will gravitate towards that heavily, I think.
Right, and if he comes up and he acts the same way and it doesn't really connect, it's not the main roster's fault because the fans love it in NXT. But if the main roster fans don't love it, well, that's them then, because if he does the same thing. But yeah, this guy, and how old is Matt Riddle? Who the fuck knows? Was he 30? He's older, man.
It's got to be around there.
Matt Riddle is older. Like, he's not fucking a lot of these people.
He's 34, so.
Yeah, Matt fucking almost my age. Like, it's like this guy has 6 years left of prime, or not even, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, exactly. So better utilize what you can now before.
Yeah, what is he going to sit in NXT fucking until he's 36?
For the next 2 years, then go up at 36 and have 4 years? Yeah, exactly.
It's time
so
to figure
I bet you after
out.
Mania we'll see him go up, because I don't see him getting a title run with the main belt. He doesn't need it.
No,
honestly, he's one of those, every now and again you get somebody, he's got enough going for him where I don't think he needs a championship run to elevate him whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the charisma. He's got the fan support. He's good in the ring. He works well with other individuals, and he has a legitimate, MMA background, so they can always use that to propel him as well. I honestly feel like he'll do fine transitioning up. And breaking news here, we just found out that WWE re-signed Shelton Benjamin for a multi-year deal with the WWE.
Saw that earlier. Wow, like who cares? Wow, talk about just I'll take the money.
Yeah, that's another one. Well, you're not on TV. Might as well get paid.
Honestly, though, dude, not a bad idea, because he's not the biggest sought-after indie guy. And, I'm sure he can make money, though, getting booked places. But I feel like he's probably not going to get picked up by an AEW. He's probably not going to go to, like, Ring of Honor. He's probably not going to go almost anywhere other than indies. And he'd probably make a decent amount on indie bookings, 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 a week. But
sometimes
fuck
more,
it. Take the nice planes, and the fucking, how much for? Did you say?
It didn't say, but if it's near where he's getting now, it's upwards of 700,000.
Oh God, I was gonna say he's getting 500,000 a year.
They've gone ahead and been very generous.
You telling me he's getting 700,000 a year? Jesus. I mean, maybe they offered him like 1.5 million over, or maybe 2 million over 3 years.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I could see that happening.
Whatever, I don't know what it is, but why? Like, this goes back to the meeting, the shareholders meeting. Where's all this money going? Like, why are you giving are you giving out more money? You've given out 30% more to the wrestlers. Is that from the income you're making?
Okay, so it would be an increase from 366 to rumored at 560.
Okay, so I was dead on. Fuck me.
You were spot on.
Suck my dick.
It takes a little bit of investigating, but yeah, 560 a year. So it ends up being, even if you round it up to 6,
it wasn't
for
quite
3
dead
years.
On,
yeah, it's 1.8 million. So you're close. You're right. You're right there.
Hell yeah, give Daddy a cookie. But it's overpaid,
Yeah, I mean they offered the Revival 700,000, supposedly.
Oh my God! For what is he gonna do?
Each.
To be this like to sign just to sign another utility guy. And by the way, I'm not saying that Shelton Benjamin isn't valuable, because like you could probably take Shelton Benjamin and maybe turn him into somebody who's like a fucking top mid card or something like that. But with what they do with him, they treat him like a fucking. He's just like generic fucking regular guy number 7. You're going to give this guy millions of dollars?
Yeah, I know, sadly.
Like, I don't... I'm lost when it comes to their fucking theory behind this type of shit. Anyway, did we not do the main event yet at NXT?
No, not yet.
My bad.
In getting into that, I mean, it could be even more as well for Shelton Benjamin. That's an old figure, I guess.
Yeah, it could be.
So it looks like it's an increase to about 700,000 actually. So...
Yeah, that's
either way. Damn.
No wonder he stayed though, because why wouldn't you? Because
why wouldn't you
if nobody's biting to have you, then you're not going to make any. You're going to make guaranteed he would make less than $150K a year. So why the fuck wouldn't you take $700K in a year in the WWE? He's literally getting paid probably 4 times the amount he could make in a private or independent deals. So I mean, he could probably make $100,000 to $200,000 a year if he wasn't signed anywhere, and yeah, he could probably make $150K a year if Ring of Honor or somebody signed him. But $700,000, $500,000, $400,000,
anything around there.
Oh my God! Like, I don't give a fuck. I'll do nothing. Yeah, send me out there for a couple little promos once in a while and a loss or a job or whatever, or like I do house shows. You know, I don't give a fuck. Like,
yeah, that's where I imagine his worth would be pulled from, his house show circuits. And
yep. Yeah, absolutely. Fuck it. I'd do that 100 times over. Of course he's signed. It's them that's weird.
Yeah.
They're weird.
I don't understand why they're blowing through so much
money.
I'm
happy for him because he's a great, awesome talent guy. And
it's just, but what they're not going to utilize him in a way that feels like it's worth it. You know, it's not that he's not worth it, but
fucking ridiculous over there. What are they doing?
Well, that's apparently one of the rumors now is that's why, you know, the former CEOs that were let go, Barrios and Michelle there, that they didn't want to keep blowing through money, signing older talent and previous talent to these lucrative contracts because it was taking away from the worth of the Fox deal.
Yeah, because
WWE was fully against their outlook on that.
Because they don't understand Vince McMahon's cock blocking on AEW. They don't understand the need to, like, it is a cock block, man. It is a total cock block. It's it's trying to take anything you can from the enemy. Anything. If they went live, if AEW went live, they may cross over 1 million viewers a couple times if there was no NXT. But because there's NXT, it you know what I mean, you're dragging them down a little bit with you, and it's that's Vince's. And I'm not saying I'm not. You know, I agree with it a little bit. It's a tactic I would probably do a little bit too if I was up against somebody threatening me or whatever. But it's like, yeah, they don't understand that. They're like, no, Vince, this makes no sense. He's like, you don't understand. Like, you know, we gotta compete here. And I get Vince, but they don't. Those people that started the company, that have been running the company business wise, have been killing it for the last since 2008. These people are fucking crushing it.
I mean, if you look, I mean, they have a stranglehold on a lot of just the arenas where people can go. AEW today was discussing with Fightful how they've been trying to get shows at the U.S. Bank Arena and Heritage in Cincinnati, Ohio, because that's Moxley's hometown. And they're not allowed to do so because of WWE's deep ties and relationships with those venues. So WWE basically banned them from performing in both of those facilities.
Yeah, I heard...
You know, so it's like you see stuff like that, and it's like, no, you know, they obviously were making good financial decisions at some point. What the hell happened?
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, I don't know if that's some kind of like, I don't mean tamper. I mean, there's nothing you can do, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I've seen that they've been. First, we saw the Madison Square Garden thing, but like you said, now that report came out. But fuck that Cyclops motherfucker. Here's a donation, or maybe not. Is it coming? There it is.
Super Chat Party.
There it is, Spaz.
Shayna to manage the faction of Vampiro Gangrel and Kevin Thorne. Guest commentary by Mahershala Ali.
Oh my God. Talk about a crew that would be. Kevin Thorne would eat Gangrel's privates.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, Gangrel would eat his. It's the other way around. I got it backwards. But yeah, we missed the last match. Sorry.
Yep. So now we go ahead and we get into the main event. Adam Cole, the NXT champion, baby, taking on Tommaso Ciampa. The crowd for this was split. Like I said, I saw it in person and I was floored because Johnny Gargano was the ultimate, like penultimate babyface. White hot, goes in with the title and gets booed to shit because Adam Cole's facing him. Like, I was so surprised when that happened.
Yeah, that was weird.
But here we go ahead and we get a pretty damn split reaction.
Yep.
The crowd doesn't know who to get behind, but they love both men and they love them hard. And these guys, they damn near, like I said again, this team of the night, they killed each other. They traded punches, kicks, holds, Maneuvers, locks, slams, you name it, we saw it. There was one point where Cole was against the, like, where the timekeeper usually is, and Ciampa ran full speed all the way around and slammed him through that small barricade area with just a huge driving knee. And he jumps up on the barricade and actually kisses one of the bald-headed fans.
Yeah, dude, that
the guy goes for like a high five, and he grabs him and kisses him, and he was celebrating like, I saw you. Like, how gay are you?
I was dying because the guy was so giddy and weird. Like, I hope to God he knew that guy, and that was like a joke because he knew the guy.
I imagine no, but you never know.
First of all, you kiss a fan, I mean, that's sexual assault. You could be in trouble. I mean, you don't want to be doing that.
Yeah,
I mean, I
sadly.
get it. I don't mind that stuff at all. It's funny, and it's all fun, and it's whatever. But you really got to think about that. So I feel like he knew the guy. But then the guy over the top was, like, jerking off, like, for the fact that he was kissed. It was weird, dude. Dudes are weird at these shows. I mean,
I know.
We're the women. There's just guys that want to rub off on the guys. It's, you know, remember Vince Russo would went on those rants? He'd be like, bro, I heard a guy, I'm going to pitch a tent, and I'm going to pitch, what the bro, this is weird, bro. I heard all these fans, bro, now, if Nakamura does this, I'm going to have a chubby. Like, what? We never talked like that back in the day, bro. Bro, this is weird, bro. Like, he was just fucking Vince Russo was losing his mind over this type of stuff. He's like, he was calling it gay and stuff like that. Then that's why he got called a homophobe by Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes called him a homophobe.
He couldn't.
And then he had to cut that whole video like, listen, bro, I am not a homophobe. A homophobe. Oh God, it was so funny. A homophobe.
So from there, you know, we get that huge running knee. Like I said, great thing. Get the you know, bald man kiss, and Nigel goes ahead and even says like, oh, the referee's being very lenient here, and he's right, but they kind of explained it away, saying that the referee, you know, knows it's for the NXT title, so his count staggered, and Ciampa, you know, only rolled in and rolled out once, I believe, to save the count. But Cole goes ahead, gets up, and Ciampa's going to throw him into the ring, and then he reverses it, and he grabs a hold of Ciampa's waist and gives him this scary wheelbarrow suplex, and it looked horrific at first. His right into the announce table. It looked like he slammed his neck right on the edge of the announce table.
Yeah.
Like the camera's even cut out for a second at that point, so I thought it was like a slight of a botch. And immediately Ciampa, like I said before, master of selling and storytelling there, grabs his neck and lets out a hell of a reaction. And I'm like, oh, hot damn.
Hot sauce, clam chowder.
Yeah. And shout out to the rant line. And from there, I'm like, damn, they are just killing it here. They are, you know, really selling on that injury. And that got the crowd so invested that they just were full support from then on for Ciampa. It seemed.
Yeah, because that reminds you, psychologically, it reminds you of the guy's neck injury and everything he had to do to get back. So that's another reason it's a great spot.
Exactly. So, and like I said before, you can't create that kind of sympathy. You can't make that. That's not something that can be manufactured. You know that's a legitimate injury. That's something that he was gone for many months for. He had to fight to come back. So lo and behold, having that, you know, type of thing be real, they used it to their advantage, and it worked so well.
So many, you know, I know that wrestling professionals or wrestlers, professional wrestlers, whatever, you know, it's so weird when I look back at some of the old school wrestling and some of the stuff I grew up on, and you know, I was always safe in the ring. I never hurt anybody myself. I never hurt myself and these things, but the wrestling style was a lot simpler to execute things. We saw a lot of moves on this NXT Takeover that were like, there is no margin for error, really. And I find that really interesting, that there are these moves that if you do just a little bit the wrong thing or land a little bit the wrong way, it's not even so many. Like, it is so much more dangerous now to do what they're doing. And so enough can't be said. I mean, obviously Tegan Knox, you know, the table thing, that didn't work out really, but she was all right. But enough can't be said about, or not enough can be said about how professional and spot on and whatever these guys and girls are, because again, what I grew up doing compared to what they're doing is quite different. There are like 5,000 times or 5 times more risks in this because there's more high flying, there's more weird, innovative power moves or drops or tumbles or crash and burns, like things that just, yeah. So anyway, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. It's something I just started thinking about for a minute, and I mean,
no, absolutely, because I mean, like you said, you have to be a master of your craft to execute these things without actually injuring someone. And as people said in the chat, it helped to state at that specific moment, not just in the women before, but it worked with the women's too, to remind you that, yes, this is the good guy, this is the heel.
Yeah. When
they target, injuries and things like that, it really, adds a bit of gravitas to the situation. So then we see, a huge exchange of super kicks, finishers. We saw that avoidance of the super air raid crash that ended up with a backstabber and the last shot hit. Then we go ahead and Morrow makes a great point that says Ciampa loves Goldie as much as his daughter Willow, and that he'd do anything for the belt, and that's how he's able to basically like manifest the energy to kick out. And it just overstated the fact that these two would put their bodies through hell just to either retain or become champion. So really solid storytelling there. Undisputed Era. First, it's Roderick Strong that runs out. Then, everybody else, Fish and O'Reilly join in.
This is where I started rolling my eyes, too, where I went, oh, no, okay.
Yeah, because it was such a great match, and I didn't want to see the interference. But then...
Again.
That's what they do, obviously, with the heels. And you see Ciampa take them all out. He gets that incredible hanging DDT on Roderick Strong. Roderick lays there with his neck basically twisted on an angle. It looked like he broke his neck. It was a devastating DDT that was so perfectly sold by Roderick. Incredible. Love that. I rewatched that clip probably 10 times. He planted him head first into the ring, and he sold it like a champ. Then he does the diving, dive onto the outside, suicide dive and over the ropes. Takes out everybody there, gets back in the ring, and unfortunately gets super kicked a few times. Still able to kick out. We already got the ref bump here. The ref's out, and he takes out all of Undisputed Era. The crowd counts all the way, I think, to 14 for the pinfall. So now we know Ciampa would have been the next champion had the referee not been taken out. And Tommaso doesn't know what to do. He's looking outside. All of a sudden, we see Johnny to the other side. Just as Ciampa's going to grab the belt, probably to hit Adam Cole with the title, Johnny grabs the belt from him. And I thought at first in my mind, they're going to be like, oh, Johnny's going to tell him, you're better than this. Don't cheat to win. You can win without the belt. And then he just waffles him with it after looking at it. And I'm like, damn it, he went heel. Like, it was just a surprise I didn't see coming.
I guess what I didn't understand was when he, why would it was exactly like the Royal Rumble with Shayna Baszler. You're getting pulled out by someone's legs, and then you get out of it, and then you, instead of running at her and drop kicking her out of the ring to win the Rumble, she walks over, leans over, and then gets taken out by the legs. The same thing here. You see that Gargano just pulled the belt away from you. Why are you now leaning your head out through the ropes to look at him, to let him hit you with the belt in the head?
See, because I don't think he thought he was going to get hit. I mean, they just 2 weeks prior were teaming up as DIY again at Worlds Collide, backing each other up, best friends against the world again. And I really took it as him being, almost like you don't need the belt to win. You can do this without cheating. That's how I had taken it. And then he waffles him with the belt. And, of course, it looked like Ciampa didn't know that was coming. So I didn't take it as like a failure like the Rumble. I took it as more of an unexpected, turn of events.
Yeah,
he didn't think his friend was going to turn on him again.
It wasn't bad. It was just, I thought maybe I
loved it. I thought it was perfect.
I guess if the belt had come out of the ring, my thing would have been better is if the belt was out of the ring and Tommaso Gargano picked up the belt and Tommaso leaned out like, hey, hand me the belt, I'll hit him with it, type of deal. And then Gargano's like, let me get the belt. And he went to hold it up to give it to him. And then he waffled him in the head with it. I wouldn't have seen that coming. And I would have been like, holy shit. But like instead it was like, here, I'm taking the belt from you now, and now I'm like, oh, and then hitting you with it. It was just, that didn't work out as well for me. I went, oh, like, what the fuck? And Gargano is a heel. It didn't work the last time. Now, the crowd did boo him here, and he finally got heat because of this, like real heat instead of this. It was cringy heat the last time. You know, Gargano is a heel, kind of reminds me of Sam Roberts as an announcing heel. Like, I just don't get it. I mean, like, if maybe he can pull it off differently than I'm aware of, but I just feel like these guys are in the total wrong roles. Like, again, so like I'm kind of like, all right, but I like Ciampa though, so maybe that's what they're thinking. I think they feel like people really love Ciampa now, and he already was the heel. But I kind of liked him as that. I really like Ciampa as this cold-blooded fucking pirate with his fucking Goldie belt. And, you know, but I think they're seeing Gargano as the sniveling little bitch or whatever, I guess.
Well, I feel like they set it up perfectly, too, with him losing earlier in the night. You know, what does he have left? He knows that the only thing he had of value to him, especially after losing to Balor, he couldn't prove his worth there. So the last time he felt on top of the world and relevant was when he had the title, and his title reign was short-lived and taken away from him. So he desperately wants to go ahead and recapture that former glory, and he knows that Ciampa's in his way, and he wanted to do everything he could to not have to face Ciampa again to get back to Adam Cole. So,
and the good thing is these guys are getting back to where we wanted to see them before the injury. So we're getting that. We are about to get that story that we didn't get concluded. It's going to conclude now, potentially.
Absolutely.
So I am happy about that. And it was okay. I was a little hard on it. I'm nitpicking because the show was so goddamn good again. It's
but I agree with Matt as well, because that was part of the thing. You couldn't have Ciampa be heel because you have everybody, you know, on his side. They showed him as a family man and all the behind the scenes stuff of how he had to endure through injury and rehab and the fight he made to come back. So it wouldn't have worked, I think, with the fans. They would reject booing him. But in this situation, you have one of your favorites getting attacked, you know, suddenly to cost him the title, which he almost had. Essentially, he had it won at several points, but the referee was, you know, taken out by the ref bump. So,
yeah, it was good though.
It was the penultimate ending to a great show, and I thoroughly, even with the belt spot, I see what you're saying. It would have been better had they pulled it off like you said, where it wasn't snatched out of Ciampa's hands. But even still, I thought, you know, in my mind, I justified it as him saying like, "Oh, I don't want to see you cheat with the belt. I'll take it," you know, that kind of thing. And then I wish they vocalized that. That probably would have made it a little bit clearer. But they can fix that with a bit of retcon and just in interviews and promos coming up. So honestly, it makes me even more excited for everything that we're going to get Mania weekend, that takeover event, and from top to bottom, I would give this show a 9.
Was a damn good NXT takeover. This was so good. I don't know where I would go. I'm giving it an 8.5. I thought it was probably a top 5 ever out of all the NXTs, I think. I don't know. You know, we'd have to really think about that and really break that down. And someday we really got to get on maybe going back and trying to figure out what I thought was the best NXT takeover ever. But it's 8.5, man. I think this might have been like a top 5 all-time NXT takeover. This was such a good show. And now tonight we're going to watch Raw. So what's the contrast going to be tonight when we have to watch Monday Night Raw after watching this? I mean, unfortunately, this is going to make us extra salty and miserable tonight because we're going to watch fucking an abomination on Raw tonight. This was a wonderfully executed show. Great job by Triple H and all the wrestlers and anybody that had anything to do with these matches and ideas. Just so good. The Portland crowd, they were a little bit worried about the Portland crowd for weeks on the ticket sales and what was going on. They filled the fuck out of this place. That didn't end up happening. They ended up having good attendance. It ended up being really good. It ended up being loud. It ended up being full. These people bid on everything. They cheered for everything. I mean, this was a unbelievably good crowd for what, you know, could have happened out there. And yeah, I mean, dude, this fucking almost a flawless victory here.
Yeah, damn close to it.
I gave it an 8.5 because I nitpicked some of that stuff, but had like I said, that women's match had more of 5 minutes than the other thing, and maybe a couple other little things. Like, my God, man, we could have been talking about a 9.5 from me, or I don't know.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a
So
few little
close.
things that could have made it that much better, but like you said, this is the second to last. This ends at Mania weekend. This is going to be the transition for a lot of the stars.
Yeah,
we're going to see a lot of the people go up. We're going to see a lot of the people go ahead and probably transfer to the main roster. So this was the, as I said before, penultimate. That's what it is. This is the final of the feud. We're not going to see Johnny and Ciampa keep going further down the road. We're not going to see Adam Cole. They're going to start wrapping things up and moving people up further.
Yeah, I wonder who's going next, man. I would almost. I mean,
after Mania is when they bring everyone up, and
Velveteen Dream can stay. Like, even though we want him, even like get him going, let's go.
With him being out for a little bit, they have a lot of ground for him to cover. Plus, he never got a run with the title.
But also remember, he's 24, right?
Yeah.
Velveteen Dream's 24. Matt Riddle is 34. So
I know Ciampa said he doesn't want to be on the main roster. He wants to stay in NXT. So if he stays, fine. He could stay as a workhorse for what they want him to do. But people like Johnny, Cole, the rest of Undisputed Era, Pete Dunne, Matt Riddle, even Keith Lee especially, Dominic Dijakovic, there's a lot of them that need to go ahead and move up. And that's when you get people like Garza, Cameron Grimes, and whatnot to be elevated. Plus they have Killer Cross coming. They have so many different rumored signings at this point. You still have Kushida down there. There's a lot of stars that need some time to grow and get some attention as well. So,
well, guys, me and Jake are going to be answering some questions on Patreon. So make sure you guys are patrons. If you're not patrons, sign up tonight, right now. Patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. Download the Patreon app on your phone. It's free. It's not free to be one, but you can, for $1 or $5, you can get all the stuff. Me and Jake are going to answer your questions, put that audio up. It's going to be up in a little while. So look for that. If you haven't asked a question, go there right now and ask your question for me and Jake. And Spaz Phoenix, I think we got a dono coming in.
Super Chat Party.
Pancakes time.
Shell says she's sad I forgot the pancakes. Pancakes.
Oh,
pancakes.
you gotta bring them on, man.
Pancakes. 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 Pancakes.
Watch it.
Pancake.
Watch it not cut this one off. Oh, it did. It did cut it off. Ah, ha, ha. Spaz Phoenix, thanks to the $5 Spaz Phoenix. Man, we're going to be live with the Monday Night Raw review tonight, so make sure you're live with us tonight after Raw. Jake, before we go record this really quickly, do you want to see the new commercial for JCS?
I do indeed. I've been waiting to see this.
I'm waiting to see the new JCS commercial. Jake's in it.
At the edge of my seat.
Jake is in it. He's in it.
That's right. And it's a win it.
It's going to be playing everywhere. So thank you guys for being here. And we'll see you guys on Patreon. Now for the post show on Patreon, here's the new JCS promo. That is not it. That's not it.
Whoops.
When Raw, SmackDown, WWE, or AEW end, tune in to the Joe Cronin Show. Live on YouTube for review and reaction. Joe Cronin and Jake break down all the action. All of it. The Joe Cronin Show. Your source for wrestling opinions, news, and insanity. A wrestling podcast with attitude. Mature audiences only. Join our community of over 70,000 people. Subscribe free on YouTube to The Joe Cronin Show.
See you guys on Patreon for the post show.